This is X, and he's a great guy, high IQ. He's a high IQ individual.
And he's got this, check out this cool.
I'm not sure, but within this presidency, it seems as if Elon Musk may be the brains of the operation and President Trump is just the mouthpiece, right? Because for as genius as Elon Musk may be, it seems as if he have great difficulty articulating himself, right? And so he comes across a little weird and very awkward to me. In this interview that I'm going to share with you guys, you will see, and the interview was very strange and weird within itself, but I want you guys to pay attention to Elon and his little X, right? And see how disrespectful and how dismissive they were of President Trump inside his own house in the Oval Office, right? And Elon Musk's son, he's going to humiliate President Trump with a few choice words, right, that I believe he learned from his daddy. And Elon Musk, with all of his narcissism, he believes that, he's the smartest person in that room, of course, or in any room for that matter. And for those reasons, he also believed that he's entitled to do the thinking for everyone, right? He's a narcissist. And so for those reasons also, we the people need to stay alert and be aware as to everything that's happening and going on around us, because it sounds a lot like dictatorship and very authoritarianish to me, right? You guys be the judge for yourself.
Some questions. Elon, go ahead.
Sure. So at a high level, if you say, what is the goal of Doge or
to take over the world, to save it from the real supervillains.
And I think a significant part of the presidency is to restore democracy. This may seem like, well, are we in a democracy? Well, if you don't have a feedback loop, okay, X, we would have to, if you sorry. I tell you, gravitas can be difficult sometimes. Like at a high level, if you say, like, how do we increase prosperity? Is we get people to shift from roles that are low to negative productivity to high productivity roles. And so you increase the total output of goods and services, which means that there's a higher standard of living available for everyone. That's the actual goal.
Detractors, Mr. Musk.
I have to what?
Including a lot of Democrats.
I have detractors?
You do, sir.
I don't believe it.
Say that you're orchestrating a hostile takeover of government and doing it in a non-transparent way. What's your response to that criticism?
And so his response was very indicative to that of a narcissist. The first thing he does is throw a hissy fit, all because someone opposes his thoughts and his views, right? And so he then attempts to weaponize the tool of impeachment by threatening someone's job, their careers, their livelihoods, and all because they disagree with him. How dare they, right? Not because they've committed a crime or they've done anything wrong. And so this is why it's very dangerous. And this is also a great example as to why we need to keep the system of check and balance in order. Every department, every position that's being filled within the government needs an overseer, needs someone looking over them, right? To make sure that they are being held accountable and liable for that position or office in which they hold, right? But when you have someone flexing their power, their authority by threatening people's careers, it's dangerous because, yes, people will acquiesce out of fear, right? When it's their lives, the means to care for their families that's on the line. And they really shouldn't be put in that position in the first place for only doing their jobs.
Mr. Musk, the White House says that you will identify and excuse yourself from any conflicts of interest that you may have. Does that mean that you are in effect policing yourself? What are the checks and balances that are in place to ensure that there is accountability and transparency?
Trying to be as transparent as possible. In fact, we post our actions to the Doge handle on X and to the Doge website. So all of our actions are maximally transparent. In fact, the kind of things we're doing are, I think, very, very simple and basic. They're not, what I mentioned, for example, about Treasury, just making sure that payments that go out, taxpayer money that goes out, is categorized correctly, that the payment is explained, that organizations on the do not pay list, which takes a lot to get there, that actually are not paid, which currently they are paid. These are not individual judgment decisions. These are about simply having sensible checks and balances in the system itself to ensure that taxpayer money is spent well. So it's got nothing to do with, like, say, a contract for some company of mine at all.
But if there is a conflict of interest when it comes to you yourself, for instance, you've received billions of dollars in federal contracts. When it comes to the Pentagon, for instance, which the president I know has directed you to look into,
Yeah.
Are you policing yourself in that? Is there any sort of accountability check and balance in place that would provide any transparency for the American people?
Well, all of our actions are fully public. So if you see anything, you say, like, wait a second, hey, Elon, that seems like maybe that's, there's a conflict there. It's not like people are going to be shy about saying that. They'll say it immediately,
Including you yourself.
Yes, but transparency is what builds trust, not simply somebody asserting trust. So not somebody saying they're trustworthy, but transparency, so you can see everything that's going on. And then you can see, am I doing something that benefits one of my companies or not? It's totally obvious.
And if we thought that, we would not let him do that segment or look in that area. If we thought there was a lack of transparency or a conflict of interest. And we watched that also. He's a big businessman. He's a successful guy. That's why we want him doing this. We don't want an unsuccessful guy doing this.
The truth is, he's so rich, he believes himself to be uncheckable. He feels as if he's above reproach. And when you have so many yes men and women orbiting your universe, sometimes that can present a false sense of validation, right? Because if you listen, what he was basically saying was he doesn't have anyone overseeing him. It's just kind of, hey, and as we go along, if you see something, say something, maybe like, what the fuck? What are you saying, Elon? And then Trump jumps in to kind of say, he's a very smart and rich guy. And so basically what you're saying, Trump, is because he's smart and rich, that automatically qualifies him as being a trustworthy person. And for those reasons, he's all good, I guess, right? He doesn't need anyone overseeing him. Of course not.
Illegal migrants, all illegal, I believe.
And they were being paid twice the normal room rate at 100% occupancy.
Unbelievable.
So it's a racket.
Yeah.
Mr. Musk, I'm going to ask you a question. You
Well,
said on,
if I may sort of just going for the president's comments, at a high level, you say, what are the two ingredients that are really necessary in order to cut the budget deficit in half from 2 trillion to 1 trillion? And it's really two things: competence and caring. And if you add competence and caring, you'll cut the budget deficit in half. And I fully expect to be scrutinized and get a daily proctology exam, basically. Might as well just camp out there. So it's not like I think I can get away with something. I'll be scrutinized nonstop. That's a fantastic scenario for the average American. Imagine they're going down the grocery aisle and the prices from one year to the next are the same. And they're
Mr. Musk, you said on X
Yeah.
that an example of the fraud that you have cited was $50 million of condoms was sent to Gaza. But after fact-check this, apparently Gaza in Mozambique, and the program was to protect them against HIV. So can you correct the statements? It wasn't sent to Hamas, actually. It was sent to Mozambique, which makes sense why condoms was sent there.
Yeah.
And how can we make sure that all the statements that you said were correct, so we can trust what you say?
Well, first of all, some of the things that I say will be incorrect and should be corrected. So nobody's going to bat 1,000. I mean, we will make mistakes, but we'll act quickly to correct any mistakes. I'm not sure we should be sending $50 million worth of condoms to anywhere, frankly. I'm not sure that's something Americans would be really excited about. And that is really an enormous number of condoms, if you think about it. But if it went to Mozambique instead of Gaza, I'm like, okay, that's not as bad, but still, why are we doing that?
This is X, and he's a great guy, high IQ. He's a high IQ individual.
In closing, I just got to say this all seems very weird at the very least, and it does sound as if there's a hostile takeover of some sort being initiated. And I also must say, in all fairness, I personally do believe that all the departments within the government should be investigated. There should be overseers, and the check and balance system should remain intact and in order, right? It seems as if there's almost some kind of subtle siege that's taking place where people's livelihoods are being attacked. And I just firmly believe that if this is allowed to continue and Elon have his way, America will surely fall under some form of dictatorship, and it will be the victim mostly of its own deep-seated hatred. You guys go ahead and get in the comment section and let me know what you think about this video. If you enjoyed it, I'd like to ask you to go ahead and hit that like button. Do consider subscribing to the channel if you're not already a subscriber. And with that being said, I'll be right back with more unpopular thoughts.
Restore democracy. This may seem like, well, aren't we in a democracy?